We're live. Welcome. Hey, it's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today's November 12th, 2024. I'm coming to you from northern Michigan, Marion, Michigan. We've titled the stream for tonight "Pedal to the Metal," and that was my idea. And all right, Z, where you been? Jay-Z. All right. I was thinking of you today, actually. Well, let's see. Do we have any housekeeping? No, not really. Well, this stream is dedicated to homesteading, small farms, and just plain living. So tonight, I would like to invite you all to give me some input as I am pontificating. I don't think we have anything coming up. No, we don't. Homestead Hog Harvest was the weekend before last. All right, so that's out of the way. Well, the big thing. Last time that we got together last Tuesday, hey Keith, it was election night. And we, 8 o'clock at night, and we didn't know what was going to happen. Everybody was kind of on pins and needles about what was going to happen. And I'm really glad that Trump got elected. I really am. I was pretty, hey, Brian's with us, right on. Midwinter gathering, we haven't talked about that around here, but I'll bring it up because we have more facilities now. We could probably get away with something like that. The last time we did it, it was a cold day, and we really weren't prepared for it. And a lot more people showed up than we anticipated. So I'm glad that Trump got elected. I am. And I've really enjoyed, what's been happening, and I am enjoying that. I am. But as far as we are concerned, as far as our farming operations are concerned, I'm a little concerned that people are going to kind of rest on their laurels. I started to think that, okay, well, I'm hearing that Tom Massey's going to be going to Washington. Well, he's already in Washington. And he's going to be heading up, like maybe Department of Ag. I've heard that. And I've heard that old Joel Salatin's going to be like an attaché to him, or a advisor to him. I've heard that. I haven't seen anything, I haven't talked to Joel about it. I suppose I should. And I think that's great. But, the USDA is an administration. All right. So, and it's, hi, Belva. Hi, Belva. Welcome. And I'm a little concerned that people are going to rest on their laurels, thinking that they have their buddies going to Washington for them. That is a very vicious place. Now, I have always told you that I'm optimistic about all the things that we've been through. And I mean, it was this, we started talking here before 2020, before the Wu flu came. And there was problems then. And I said that we need to be prepared for anything that's coming. And as farmers, we're going to be prepared. We're going to be prepared for the next season. Like I always say, the next storm that's on the horizon, because there's always a storm on the horizon. I was just fighting with a heater down in the milk house, and that's the latest storm that I have right now. Very weird the way it's operating, and I'm kind of concerned because it has a supply of gas to it, and if it malfunctions, I could have a problem. So that's the next storm, right? And I had storms all day today. There was things that I had to do all day. And luckily, a lot of it I was prepared for and was able to handle it, and we got through it. Nothing big, just little things. We're doing construction over at the apartment right now. Finally at a place with the milk house where I can kind of knock off. But Washington doesn't necessarily mean that they're just going to fix things. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that they're going to go there and try to fix things. But what is their idea of fix? That's what my concern is. I am of the belief that we are not under the authority of the USDA or the Michigan Department of Agriculture or the local health department. We're just not under their authority. We haven't chosen to contract with them or put ourselves under their authority. We are under the authority of the United States Constitution. So it kind of makes the Department of Agriculture irrelevant unless administrative body they plan to distribute funds us as small farms as the same as they do with industrial ag. Now that would be nice, and that would be something that would be appealing to me. Even if I could just get low interest loans from them to expand my farming operation, that would be fine. That would be really nice. But as far as them just going and fixing things, I don't really know what that looks like. And I don't have contact with these people. I'm purposely staying out of it at this point, unless somebody rings my phone. I'm just going to stay out of it. I feel, this is how I feel about this. And, take it for what it's worth. I feel that until such time as my input is required or asked for, which it hasn't been, and it hasn't been on a lot of fronts, because I take the approach, I'm not under these guys' authority as far as all the functions that I do here on this farm. And if I know what you guys are doing, unless it's something that I don't know about, I pretty much know what's going on at the Rockwell's place and the Duncan's place and Jay-Z's place. You do not need to ask permission or be in any kind of contract with these guys. You just don't. And so is it that we're hoping to gain by our guys going to Washington? I don't know what to say on that yet. I wish I had a lot of great news. I've seen all these blurps that guess who's going to Washington? Joel Salatin's going to Washington. Okay. All right. Better him than me. But if I was asked for my input, I don't really know what I would say at this point, other than listen, I'm under the authority of the Constitution. Those people are under the authority of the Constitution. They really have no authority here unless I give it to them. I've not. I don't plan to. And so I don't see how things change for me. But I had this conversation with Jill because when I know these guys, and I've tangled with the state authorities, I've tangled with them quite a bit, and I know who they are and what their authority is. And their authority is gained by my consent. And I've never consented. Or I did, but then I withdrew my consent via withdrawing my license from them. So I'm not under their authority, and I continue to do what I'm doing by the sweat of my brow and my wife's help, with the finances and and making sure everything is taken care of, paid for. You know, it's a business and it has to be attended to constantly. And so my feeling at this point is this is just where I'm at. I feel now is the time to put the pedal to the metal. Like if you're creating a process that you feel is going to be profitable to your home, your small farm, your family, I say do it. Just get into it. Don't be waiting. Don't be waiting. Now is the time that you can make the changes on your place that you want. I say it's smart to listen to people who know. I say it's smart to listen to people who are actually doing the thing. They have the power to direct you in the right direction. But we saw this last time Trump got elected, where a lot of people just, you know, they just rested. Like he's going to do everything. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, I'm not blackpilling you. I'm not. He's going to do a lot of good things, and I think they could really make an impact on society. But now is not the time for the people who elected him to rest, right? Not the time. A person can do what they want to as far as pressuring local leadership to get things done that need to be done. You know, I'm talking about immigration issues and things like that. I highly recommend that if you are having problems with that, that you send an email to your county sheriff and say, I want to know how many are in the county, and I want to know what you're going to do, and I will wait for you to respond to this at the county commission meeting. I recommend people do that. You know, I personally am not having any. There are people in this county that are having big problems with it. So I think at this point, it's for them to do. But I feel for me, just me right now, 1 week after the election, the thing for me to do is just put the hammer down, put in a few extra hours every day, spend a lot more time thinking about what I'm doing and less time goofing around, and, you know, get things done. Now is the time for me to do it, I feel. Now, next week, I come back and say, hey, well, you know, I got a phone call from so-and-so, and this is what their plans are doing to do. And I'll brief you on that. But right now, I've heard nothing. There's been no, and I've thought about reaching out, but then I thought, no, you know, maybe not, because my style of doing things is a little bit different. And I am in a different position than both those individuals that I mentioned, because I will not compromise on my constitutional rights. I will not compromise on that. And I don't see that stance from them. I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. And that is problematic to me. And I just feel I need to tell you that. My massive audience of 9 people, you know. And I look for that because it is my lack of compromising on my constitutional rights gives me a great deal of freedom. You know, the U.S. Constitution is the law of the land. You get a lot of people that like to work around it and get you into another contract that supersedes the original contract being the U.S. Constitution. And I'm going to do that. There's nothing in that for me. There is not freedom in that. There is not, oh, I sleep better at night knowing that I got the Department of Agriculture on my side. Yeah. It could be really interesting. They could start throwing other under the bus. We'll see. But a lot of people are, you know, woohoo. And I don't know how many people have forwarded stuff to me. Do you know who's going to Washington? Okay, we'll see. I'm not going to just rest on my laurels just because somebody that I know and is a, you know, big time farmer and writes a lot of books and stuff and talks all the time is going to Washington. That is a vicious place. But we will see. We will see. But at this time, I'm not going to rest. I am going to just hammer down. And that's really all I have for you tonight. And well, you know, we're real happy that Trump got elected. I am too. I've seen the liberal freakouts and stuff, and they're freaking out over stuff that's just not even true. I don't even know where they get the information from. But I don't see clear sailing. I'm just not feeling clear sailing now. That's me. I'm just not feeling it right now. No clearer than it was before. I feel as though for me and for you, if you will wield that Constitution like a broadsword that it is, there is freedom under the Constitution. You know, you have the right to your process, which is guaranteed under the Fifth Amendment. And if your process isn't illegal, you have every right to pursue it, every right. And anybody that tries to circumvent that is an enemy, right? They are an enemy of the Constitution. And it's quite ironic that most of the ones that try to end run the Constitution have taken an oath to the Constitution. That is really amazing to me. I think that what I would like to see from the bully pulpit of the presidency that we return to constitutional. That's what I would like to see. Maybe we will see that. Maybe we will see it. I don't know. See, one of the things about small farms is we are independent. We haven't hooked ourselves to anyone else's wagon who can roll down to us and say, hey, I don't want you to say that. I don't want you to do that. Or I'll do this to you. We haven't done that. I am independent from anything like that. And I am beholding only to my customers. So one of my customers could say, you know, I don't like your comments about gays or anything like that, because I do make comments once in a while. Just not that I have anything against them. It's just this woke agenda that I'm supposed to say, oh, isn't that great? You know, I'm not going to, I don't think it is. And so I'm not going to say it. And I've brought up the Bruce Jenner thing that I'm supposed to say, oh, how courageous, how nifty and cool and all that stuff. I'm not going to say that. I think it's sad. It's sad. It looks really weird. It looks really dumb. I'm real disappointed in him. And I'm more disappointed in people that just mark out the party line that, oh, it's courageous, you know. And if I was hooked to somebody else's wagon who could shut off something to me, then I could not say those things. But I think that, you know, I agree with Elon Musk that if we don't have free speech, and President Trump said this the other day too, then we don't really have freedom. You know, if somebody can curtail my speech, then I am not free. And now I understand, like when I was working for the Air Force, I couldn't get out there and make press releases for the Air Force. I couldn't say what I think. Well, I think it was really dumb to bomb this target. I can't do that because I work for them. They have somebody that does that, and they put out the correct information. But I knew that going in. You know, I knew that. I was under contract with them. You serve in the military under contract, and there's certain things you say that you will do, and there's certain things you say you won't do. And if you break that contract, then you wind up in a court, and that court can decide whether you're going to stay in at a reduced rank, stay in at in the stockade for a little while, or okay, we're going to let it slide. And so you don't do those things because you don't want to wind up in a position like that. as independents, we're not in that position. Nobody can shut my money off, my income off. My income comes from all my individual customers. If one of them doesn't like what I do or what I say or how I keep my place, then they can go someplace else. And that's fine. That's why we want to have a diverse base of people that are all patronizing our facilities and the things that we do. That's the beauty of this whole thing. Is there a downside to it? Let's say that I was producing everything that I'm producing here and I'm selling it all to one co-op, let's say. And I got nothing against co-ops. I think they're good. But the co-op is run by somebody that says, hey, would you tone down that rhetoric about abortion? I would say, I'm out of here. I sell stuff to you, but you don't get to tell me what to say or what not to say. You don't get to do that. And as soon as I hear that, I'm usually closing off the umbilical cord. I am closing it off because I don't like to be told what to say or what to think. And what good is this platform if you're not going to get the straight poop from me? Now, it might not be accurate, but I believe it. It may not be your cup of tea, but you don't have to be here, And it's like that. That's the beauty of freedom of speech. Yeah, can I hurt feelings? I guess I can. I have the right to do that. What? Under the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, I have the right to free speech. It's not a privilege. It's a right. And if I say things that are offensive, so be it. But if I say things, that are accurate and on time, take it and run with it. That's the whole idea of passing on information about these farming operations that we partake in. In my opinion, I've said this many times before, but I'll just say it again. What I'm doing here is what the Department of Agriculture should be doing. They should be showing people how to farm. But instead, they seem to clamp down on small farms and then funnel tons of money to the corporate farms. Something doesn't sound right there. Something doesn't sound right. It should be a level playing field and we all make it or don't make it. But they're picking winners and they're trying to pick losers. But they really, as I've said, other than withholding dollars from me, which they have continually since I've been here, we've asked and they've always closed us down because they don't like the way we do things. That's the only authority they have. So maybe what could be coming is a new surge in, okay, you guys can get loans too, 1% loans or 1.5% loans at the beginning of the season. You guys can get them too, but only if you're doing these things. No, there's a hook in that one. There's a hook. And I'm not going to change what I'm doing to, I'm not going to change what I'm doing just to get dollars from a government agency. You really don't need to. And that's not really a business that is sustainable, right? What I think that what we've done, I don't raise, say, llamas here or rainbow ponies or anything like that. I produce products that people use, that people want, and once they've eaten it, they want more. I can provide them with more. I don't know about the whole niche thing. I don't know about that. It seems like if you raise llamas, and I remember this happening out in Montana when I first got into farming, there was all kinds of things about, oh, llamas, at the county fair. Oh, that's the next thing, and didn't seem like it to me. I couldn't see cowboys out there in Montana on llamas. llamas going up into the mountains after. I just couldn't see it. And sure enough, didn't go anywhere. And then ostriches and all this stuff, you know. So that's my take on this. I think that small farming could, you know, I've heard the rhetoric from Mr. Kennedy and from Nicole Shanahan about it. I've heard it, but they are up against extreme opposition. So we will see. We will see. And when we start to see some good coming, I'm definitely going to bring it up. But I'm not going to hold my breath. And you know, I don't need to, and neither do you, because the homestead, when it's at the level that mine is, I spent over $400 today. I wrote checks for over $400 in materials, 2x4s, insulation, wire, PEX tubing, things like that. And you know, last week I spent another 400 probably. And when I was coming home from doing that, I thought, well, I'm going to take these materials and then form them with my hands and the tools that I have and knowledge that I have to do these things. And that $400 is just doubled, at least doubled in value, because 2x4 sitting in a pile, they're worth whatever they're worth new. I don't even know what they go for new. I bought 10 of them today, so I should know, but I didn't really look at it, be honest with you. Yeah, I'm buying dimensional lumber to work over here. It was started with dimensional lumber, and so it's just easier for me to stay with it. I'm still buying rough cut off Parker. I got a load of it down there that we're going to rebuild the barn roof with, but that's a total project, and that doesn't start for another 2 weeks. I got to give this project a full week and then of next week and see where we wind up. Turns out that 2 of my sons that are in the military are both bringing prospective wives home with them. Prospective. I mean, that's the reason you bring somebody home to meet your parents, I think. And so we don't have enough housing here. So I've got to get that built. We're actually calling it Operation Hen House. So all the gals will be staying over there, and I got to have a shower for them, and I've got to have a toilet, and whole nother room that's insulated, and install a wood stove and all that stuff. So it's a big job. And luckily I've got Robert Podbelski is coming to help me. And my old son Kyle helped me today. So that's about my message for this time. Even when I hear Justin say winter meetup, I'm kind of no, because there's a lot of prep that goes into it, and when it's done, I have to clean up and put the chairs away, right? And it doesn't move the ball down the field of this operation. Yeah, I feel as though my ministry, my duty in life is to share what I'm doing, because I believe it's so important. But I don't know, is just meeting up and having a potluck is that critical at this point. It's just not ringing critical to me at this point. Like, I kind of think, yeah, it'd be fun, but I got stuff to do. And if I have to prep for that 2 weeks ahead of time, that's going to take away from all the other stuff I have to do. I've got a long list of stuff that I need to do. I've got like 15 pigs that need to be butchered and about 5 beef. And the build out on the milk house, that has taken a lot of my time. But once it's done, it's going to streamline the operation so well. I've been on record as saying, some don't like me saying this, but I think it is the hottest thing coming is raw milk. I really do. raw cow milk. Right? So let's see what people are saying here. David Duncan's with us. There's a lot of winning to be had. That's what Brian is saying. Now is the time to strike. Now is the time. Because in this, you never know. Department of Agriculture locally, like state Department of Ag, MDA, they might decide to cash out at people. You know, I'm sure people have heard by this time that FEMA, at this latest hurricane that we had, they were bypassing homes that had Trump signs out in front of them. That's coming out now, and it's confirmed. And they put some gal on the hot seat, and she said, "Well, yeah, because a lot of them are jerks, you know, so they were just bypassing those homes." Wait a minute, FEMA? You can do that? You can just pick who you're gonna, you know, give assistance to in a time of an emergency, and you know, so they may lash out. You never know. I don't really care if they do, because I am blanketed by the U.S. Constitution, and that Fourth Amendment is my friend because it's a roadblock at the bottom of the driveway. They're not welcome here. And even if they do come, what authority do they have? Do they have arresting authority? No. You know, do they have the authority to fine you? No. Do they have the authority to put tape over your freezers? They do if you're in a contract with them. But mine, I'm not in any contract with them. I've made no agreements with them. They have no authority on this property, and I've told them, don't ever come back. And so if they do, you know, there were people there when I said that. If they do, I'm just going to hold them until the county sheriff arrives, and then press charges against them for criminal trespass. That's what I'll do. All right, nice. I reckon you guys should do the same thing. Okay, Ron S. Strangers give me the stink eye when I use words like fat or retard. Yeah, I can see that. It depends. It depends. Okay, Pat H. saying thanks for the stream. Is there any other input? Any other thing you guys want me to talk about? Robinhood executive Dan Gallagher. Robinhood? Going to buy raw milk right now. Love it. Blurry dinosaur. I wonder if you're one of our people. Probably not. I haven't heard that one before. But is there any input that you want me to comment on? Maybe I'm not seeing everything that there is to be seen at this point. Anything? Anything? I got an early day tomorrow. I got to get into Cadillac and buy some doors. And my helpers are going to be here at 10 o'clock in the morning. Plus, I got to fit my farm work in before then, all my feeding and stuff. So I get a early day tomorrow. Do I wear ball caps? I sure do. I never wear them on the stream, though. It just looks weird when I have a baseball cap on. What can I do to clear the huge white lines in the sky? It's really easy. It's really simple, but it will take a lot of money, a whole lot of money. You know, you would need to have enough money to purchase a surface-to-air missile and start knocking a few of them down. That's about the only way you can do that, unless they stand them down. You know, it boggles my mind how little authority the president has with entities like that. It really boggles my mind, because I think we all know what that's about. That is called weather warfare. And unfortunately, at this time, we've got other entities out there that are participating in the same thing. So we have to, I think, maintain that. Greetings from Deer Camp in Onaway, Michigan. Is it the second week of Deer Camp and all the boys are here? Anti-aircraft. Yeah, nice sense. I mean, that would be the way to do it. I mean, if it is what as bad as they say what they've been doing to us for the last 20 years, then I could see somebody doing that. I could see it. There's a lot of information on the internet about it, and it seems so far-fetched that they leave it up, you know? Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. All right, Keith's surgery went good. Got his staples out. Good for him. 26 staples in. Oh, okay. Good for him. All right. I am at a loss for thoughts right now. My plans for the winter, I'm not slowing down. You know, it does get cold and it's real difficult to work, especially construction, but I am not slowing down. I'm still loving my truck, my new truck, my Silverado, 2018 Silverado. Thing's got everything in it. Well, actually, it doesn't. It's pretty stripped down, but you know, for me, it's got power windows, got a backup camera, which is pretty neat. All right, intentional homesteading's with us. I remember that I said I was going to call you last week and find out what's going on with the new farm, but I kind of forgot about that. So I should do that because I am interested. I got an idea. Who would be interested in a work day here? Because what I'm doing right now is I'm building out the apartment next door for my daughter. And she is going to school to become a midwife. And I'm totally in support of it. As a matter of fact, it was my suggestion. And imagine that, one of my kids taking one of my suggestions and running with it. But I'm building out the apartment next door so it's comfortable for her to live in while she's going to school. And right now, like her and her girlfriend would love to get an apartment. It's almost impossible. Going to school and making enough money to make rent payments on an apartment. It's nearly impossible for her to do it unless she was living in the low rent district, and I don't want that. So that's what I'm doing. And it's kind of a two-prong approach. We wanted to build that out, that area there, as a quarter-acre homestead, and then videotape it and all that stuff to just show people what you can actually do on a quarter acre. But I'm revisiting that. We didn't do that. We didn't pull the trigger on it. We had too much going on and it just didn't fit in. I didn't have the right person, to do it. I need someone who's there, and Rachel will be living there, and she is the right person to maintain it, right? So I'm going to fence it off, but I'm going to go from a quarter acre to a half acre. And then I want to run a length of fence down the field to the cabin, the declare-it cabin, actually. And kind of fence off the campground from everything else because I don't want the cows in the campground. Sheep, no problem. They leave little piles of little pellets that get hard, and that's not a problem. But cows, no, it's just not going to work. And you can't have cows rubbing up against people's furs and stuff like that. And the cows the beef cows, they're not, you can't pet them. They're unpredictable, and that just wouldn't work. So I want to fence them out. They don't have access to it now, but the field that's adjacent to the campground, I want them to have access to that. Like they could be out there now still grazing, but it's fenced. So I'm kind of working the half-acre homestead project and fencing that field kind of at one time. There's going to be common fence lines. So I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice if we had a work day here where we could do some fencing, do some work in the cabin, some electrical work, some drywall, some, construction, some framing, all kinds of things. I got to put a septic system in. Yeah, that's a lot of digging. That's a lot of digging. It's a good thing I have young men around here that don't mind digging. I just leave them alone while they're digging, and they're being left alone. And it could be not only where we are building up the campground that everybody uses, but also accomplishing something and share skills at the same time. And we get together and have a potluck. It's, at the end of the day, and fun. I wonder if anybody would be interested in that. Let's see if I can see a show of hands. Yeah, I know it requires coming earlier in the morning and staying here all day and hanging out with the Baker clan, but all right, let's see what people have said here. Okay. Sean's saying, Sean Wise, just me, my kid will be here tomorrow. Knocked a 7-point today and couldn't wait to deliver. Okay, he said something a little bit later. All right, intentional. We closed on it today. Give us to the end of the month to get moved, and we'll love to come help. All right. Yeah, that's the Declare It Homestead, and they found a place close to them. It kind of came up, it like fell out of the sky, and it was in their price range, and it has more acreage, and they can do way more with it, more buildings. Really, really nice. Really nice. So I'm glad to hear that. International. Yeah. Sean Wise is saying, I hate liver. Been carnivore since September 1st. I feel like I need something different. Yeah. Well, actually, Justin, I was thinking this weekend, but that might be kind of close for everybody. But like, I don't know. You gotta look at the weather. So this Saturday, it's supposed to be 50. I don't have next Saturday coming up yet. I don't know. Maybe the time has gone by. And I didn't talk to Jill about it because, it's taxing on her too if we have people come. But I always know I can count on Jay-Z, especially if there's some electrical work involved. Yeah. Well, Tribe Day is scheduled for this year. We're going to do it again. We're just taking it a year at a time. Last year was really fun. We had a good time. And it was very low impact. We did have a lot going on this summer, and it was kind of hard to squeeze it in, but we did. And things went relatively well. We were kind of dealing with the Nourish Co-op situation, which, by the way, I haven't heard from them. I've asked for an input several times, but I'm not getting any response. They're not returning my phone calls. So I don't know what's going on. It's kind of disheartening because, you help people and you share a lot of your strategy with them, and then they ghost you, and you kind of wonder, uh-oh, did somebody get to them? And with no response, I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, David's saying Isaiah is laying foundation for his new barn soon. We would like to come help. Isaiah and Jared must have slacked the last time they came to help. No, they did a pretty good job. They got the floor all framed out. They got it insulated and all the decking down, or nearly all the decking down. Yeah, you're right, Jay-Z. Early December could still be good weather. And by then, well, fencing's tough in December. It is. It can be done. I mean, I've done it. I've done fencing in January, actually. And then at the end of February. Sometimes in there, it's kind of the snow and the ground's kind of hard, and the wind is what gets you. I'm putting a wood stove over there for the girls, and I had to put the thimble on the roof, so I had to cut the hole and get that all installed today. And I was up on the roof and I'm thinking, it's sunny, but it's cold. And that wind was whistling. And I'm thinking, yeah, but I'm going to do it today because I don't want to deal with it. We're supposed to get rain. Yeah, Thursday, supposed to get rain and wind. Yeah. So it'll be done. I'll have the wood stove installed here by close of business tomorrow. So once the doors are on, all the work inside can be in relative comfort. And that's kind of how we do things. You know, we do the outside stuff when you can and kind of create some shelter for you for when you're, you know, when the weather is really inclement and you really don't want to be working outside as much as any more than you have to. About half of my day usually is outside in the winter because I have to do all the feeding and milking and all that stuff. So, you know, I've gotten used to it. I'm actually a whole lot tougher than I was when I first started this. I was thinking, oh, the winter's just cold, and I would start to dread it and the ice and all that stuff. But then I learned to kind of deal with it. I get a new pair of boots every year, the kind of boots, you know, like Hyzea, although they're out of business. They couldn't replace the boots that we tried to return to them. So I guess we're just going to go with dry shod. But I take those dry shod boots and I get the ones that are really gnarly on the bottom, the higher priced ones. And then I get hex head screws that are about half-inch long, maybe a little less if I can find them. And then I'll just take my screw gun and screw those things in the bottom. And when you're walking on a linoleum floor, they click like you got tap shoes on, but on ice, they grip. And you don't have to worry about that. So that's what I do. And that takes care of the ice situation. We haven't had a lot of snow the last couple of years, so I haven't actually been plowing much. And they haven't been real brutal winters. Last couple of them have, thanks to global warming, it's been pretty nice. Oh, I should tell you guys about, I've been watching the mainstream media a little bit just to watch them freak out. I guess NBC is for sale. Comcast is selling it. Maybe they're going to fire, what's her name? Rachel Madcow. Wow. What a basket case that thing is. And the other one, Joy Reid, just absolute nuts. Hopefully they're looking for new jobs along with Don Lemonhead and the rest of the crowd. What was I going to say? I lost it. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so their battle cry is Kamala lost because of us. And we did not vote for her because of a valid reason. We didn't vote for her because she's a girl. That's what they're saying. And not only us, the Mexicans too, or the Hispanics. And it's because, get this, they're misogynists. And so are we, all the white guys that didn't vote for her. We didn't vote for her because we're misogynists. So I started to look into that, and I even made a couple of videos, kind of sarcastic videos, about what misogyny is. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. They use it as though it's bad, like you should treat women like they're equals. And I think, they are equals as human beings, but their functions are different than our functions. But when you identify that, that's misogyny, right? And so they're saying we don't think that she could, handle herself with other world leaders. Well, that's true. But it's not because she's a girl. It's because she's dopey, right? But they're saying that our reason for not voting for her is because she's a girl, because we're misogynists. So I have decided to embrace my defect of misogyny. I'm embracing it. And so I have a filter now. And anything that I'm doing, I think, is this misogynistic? And I was commenting that, well, one of the things that I do sometimes, I don't do it much, is collect eggs. But that's a female chicken that lays that egg. And I'm kind of intervening in her reproductive process. So I think you could make the case that that is somehow misogynistic. Or what about cows? Well, milking cows, we don't milk bulls. I don't recommend you try that. You wouldn't get anywhere with it. You might get a horn in your backside or pummeled somehow if you go to pulling on things underneath the cow like that or underneath the bull like that. But we're milking cows. This is a female cow that is lactating. And here we are taking the milk that's supposed to go to the calf, and we're taking it and selling it for money. If that ain't misogynistic, I don't know what is. Yeah, so a lot of things are like that. They're misogynistic. We're taking advantage of the femaleness of our breeding stock. It's kind of funny. I think that's the best thing to do when they come out with these stupid things is kind of make fun of it, just poke fun at it, mock it, because there's not much they can do about that. Anywho, David is saying Mark Cuban is transitioning into a Rachel Maddow's twin. Oh, yeah. That's a piece of work, too, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that's it for me tonight. Kind of a short show. I'm still in the hold mode. I'm sharing with you how I feel, not how I want to feel, but it's kind of how I feel. And as far as our guys going to Washington, good on you. Do the best you can. Serve us as best you can. But I don't have that same feeling that I have when I can do something that's right in front of me. I can, I was commenting to the guy at the lumber yard the other day. I said, because we were talking at the counter, and I said, well, I really wish President Trump would outlaw war. I wish he'd get together with Putin and Xi and a few of the other big boys like France and UK and say, let's settle this. This war stuff is no good. It benefits only the war machine. It's a scam, right? And they said, well, you think they could do that? And I said, I think they could. We're probably one of the worst perpetrators of going into countries that don't really need our help to help. And you wind up see a bunch of GIs coming off a plane and they're all armed up and, well, I guess they're here to take us over. And before you know it, there's conflict. And now we're in a conflict. I think it could be dealt with other than having large militaries and the way we've been doing. I think it can be dealt with. And this guy had a few questions for me. And I said, well, you don't realize what it's like in other countries. I can wheel in here and I can buy anything that's on the shelf here. I can take it home, put it together, live in it, function with it, make money with it. And I don't have to ask anybody's permission to do that. It's not like that in other countries because they don't have a constitution like we do. Most Americans, and I would say most, do not realize the edge that they have against every other person in this world because of that document. There is a slew of countries where you cannot own a firearm. Here, you can own some of the best weaponry that's made legitimately because of the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. You have all these, well, it seems like the mainstream media is going by the wayside because no one listens to them anymore. And that's why NBC is sale, right? Because no one listens to them anymore. I was just listening. There's this guy that I listened to, LV Nation. LV Nation. He's a Puerto Rican guy from New York City, and I just like him. And his name is Lou Valentino. And I used to work with a bunch of Puerto Ricans, and they're good guys. You know, a lot of them, they just got a kind of way about them, you know. And I was listening to him, and he had a guy that was on there that was running down a list of the hosts, like Rachel Madcow and Joy Reid, and the subscribership that they have lost since the election. Like, they're down to nothing. Nobody wants to listen to them anymore. Because listen, you know, all the rhetoric that they put out there for all that time. And if you're a conservative and you have people in your circle that were Kamala voters, they are still saying the world's over. You know, women's rights are gone. Trump's going to outlaw, you know, abortion nationally. He didn't say that. And it wasn't his decision. It was the Supreme Court's decision to put abortion, the issue of abortion, to the state to decide, the individual states. I wish they'd outlaw it. I think it's horrible. I can't understand people who can support a candidate that wants abortion on demand anytime, anywhere, for any reason. It's barbaric is what it is. It's absolutely barbaric. And I don't know. I just can't see it. There's not any part of me that says, well, in this case, it's a good idea. No, it's always an innocent life that's being torn to shreds. And yeah, maybe there was a terrible situation that created that, but it's not that person's problem. And I don't know. I just don't see it at all. I think it's barbaric and gross and terrible. And I think anybody that supports it has a screw loose, to be honest with you. And I could see people who don't believe that there is a grand plan here, that somebody created this, somebody created us. If you don't believe that for one reason or another, you really have to work at not believing that, because just being in this creation, you can't believe that, well, it's just a big bang that happened. You know, 100 monkeys, you know, typing for 100 years. Well, they'd probably type the Bible out. You know, it's kind of stupid. But yeah, we're going to see. I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen. And actually, I think one thing that I could say that feels good about, you know, our guys going to Washington, and Washington, is the perception that Trump appointed these people. You know, Robert Kennedy as part of the administration somehow. I don't know. I don't think he's got an official appointment yet. But, you know, Tom Massey, Joel Salatin going to Washington, that sets industrial agriculture on edge. And while that's happening, while they are on edge, I think do what you got to do, you know, because they're most likely going to be out of your space. Not that they should be in your space anyway. And I've already said how I feel about that. They have no right to be in your space, but other than by if you contract with them. Anyway, I'm just starting to ramble now. Let's see what we got here. We need to quit sacrificing our treasures in political wars. I know. War is so stupid. War is so stupid. When you see it in the movies, it makes sense because you're on the side of the good guys, right? You're fighting for the guy next to you. Do you realize what they're doing? They're shooting guns at each other because they have the wrong uniform on. And the more vicious it gets, the more vicious it gets. Why do we even start it? You know, we don't have to do it. Yeah, that's David saying, disgusting how they call abortion healthcare and reproductive rights. It really is, but they do that with everything. They change the language. A really good book to read to understand how they operate is the book Animal Farm. I read that when I was in high school. It didn't make any sense to me then, you know, but now that I get older and I see how it's usually the people, the parasite class, that's really all they have going for them as their academic prowess. That's all they have going for them. That they twist words, they change the meaning of words, and they use big words. They love to do that to confuse people. And they wind up calling something like baby killing, they call it healthcare and reproductive rights. You know, it's sickening. It's sickening. All right, I'm out of here. Remember, anyone can farm. Put the pedal to the metal. There is a storm on the horizon. I don't know where it's